You're ready. You're on.
Okay. I always get this wrong, but I move to declare us back in open session.
Jeremy, sorry.
Okay, action items. Bless you. We have approval of a non-bargaining unit contract. By Ellen. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Approval of the voluntary early retirement, we've moved that, correct? We're gonna move it on. We're gonna get more information and move it to another meeting.
Well, do we want to vote? See if people are ready to do it?
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve offering and approval voluntary early retirement incentive program?
So moved.
Second.
I'm gonna give it to Jessica. I heard her.
I didn't say anything. I was the one person who didn't.
Bill, I apologize. We're gonna give it to you.
No problem again.
Who was the second? Who yelled second? Jeremy. All right. Discussion?
Just want to advocate that we wait until we get more information before we take a vote.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Opposed? 7-2. Andrew and John. Okay. Approval to accept the educational specs for the Torrington High School ADA compliance project, exterior project number TMP 143 LKBC. Can you shorten that next time? Can you shorten that next time? Do we have an educational spec that we're going to approve?
Can I speak to this for a
Yeah.
second? Once again, this is brought on by the state of Connecticut.
Well, let me do this first for a second. Can I get a motion
Get a
to
motion
accept
for discussion.
the approval of all that I said before? Second by Ellen. Discussion. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Okay, on the discussion, you have already approved the high school educational specifications for this back on September 17th. The problem being, when we approved it, we failed to say it's a Torrington High School project. All the other stuff went along with it. This one piece didn't say it, and the state, on a technicality, has called us on this. So if we do not give them the correct language, they won't approve the project. We'll continue to have a temporary number on the project, and they won't fund it. So that's
we need to specifically approve the educational specifications for the Torrington High School ADA compliance exterior project TMP 143 LKDC.
that is correct. Specifically for them. Once again, the specifications have been given to you. You have them. It's on the record.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Grant approvals. Approval of primary mental health program. And approval of adult education program improvement projects, family literacy. What are we approving?
The primary mental health program is in its grant in its 6th year at Forbes School, and is part of the RTI program, where it deals with the challenges that young children who are first transitioning to school. It works primarily with K through 3rd grade students.
I did it backwards again. Can I get a motion to approve the 2 grants?
So moved.
Second. Second is fine. Okay, now I'm sorry, go ahead. Discussion.
It's to serve at-risk primary grade children through the availability of an early intervention mental health program for the detection and prevention of emotional behavior and learning problems. It's early intervention and prevention, and what it. Oh, and the second one is a program where we receive matching funds to another grant we have where it first works with parents of children who are ESL. This is district-wide. The parents connect to school. We work mainly with parent-student engagement, parent and child together. And so parents really get to feel comfortable with it. But through the ESL, then we also connect the parents to a work and career path. So it's two things, getting parents to really know and understand the building, what a school offers, learning English, and then working with them for developing a work and career path.
Is this a new grant?
No, no, we've had this one for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
All right, so this is a renewal of the 2 grants that we've had
Correct.
for 4 to 6 years.
Yep.
Any other discussion, Helen?
Yes. In the grant, there's specific,
Which one?
the first one,
Okay.
there's specific names. Is the grant held to those names or position?
Means people?
Yes,
Okay, no, it's positions.
thank you.
Can I just request in the future, when we look at grants, if we could get a cover sheet that says total cost of program, grant, total cost of TPS, because I think it would be.
Yeah, because that was gonna be my
Yes.
question of what do we spend above and beyond the grant? What's not funded by the grant?
Okay, with the primary mental health, you have someone that, it's a para who works with the children, but she has specific training that
A para or paras?
a para.
Right.
One, and she's part-time. Okay, it's a certain number of hours per week. We have to apply for within the grant, also the training that the parent needs to work with the child. So it's all inclusive. You can see in the packet you received, there is a detailed budget and also all the detailed description of the program.
Are you required to put the person's name in the grant? Or is that
Only if
just-
you're reading the evaluation, and yes,
Appendix E.
depending upon, we have to put in resumes
Mhm,
of
okay.
people who are being paid through the grant.
And can I also just request that these backup things come, that we white out our employees' home addresses and phone numbers on the resumes that are attached to the grants?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to attach resumes, which specifies the person, because you have to name the person in the grant. But if that person is no longer employed by the district, do you have to then send another resume and another person's name?
Yes.
Yeah, if you swap people.
Yeah.
Say a
They
principal.
change schools, and yes.
Okay, okay.
Usually with grants, midway through the process, they'll ask you for an update, so if anything's changed, then we just submit that.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Approval of the 15-16 district calendar. Can I get a motion? Is that Dan? Dan, can I get a second?
Second.
Dan? Discussion? All those in favor?
Can I just ask, what has changed? I was trying to figure out what was different.
We're just waiting to see what they were requiring for the district calendar, but they postponed it for 1 more year.
So this is the same calendar?
Yep.
I thought
I'm
I was
just-
going nuts.
No, no,
I know,
but
it's different.
Don't worry, you are. All
It was a
those-
trick.
All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Approval of outsourcing the groundwork. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
And can I get a second? Discussion? Pretty much beat this one to death. All those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5 opposed? 5, 4. Those are Jessica, Bill, Andrew, and John.
Thank you.
Approval of the nurse coordinator reorganization.
So moved.
Ellen, second to Dan. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. 2015-16 out-of-district field trips. Can I get a motion, please?
Where are those located in our packet?
Your email to
Yesterday.
Yeah. I have a question.
Can I get a motion first so we can discuss it?
No,
Dan.
it's a separate one.
Can I get a second? Bill? Okay, go ahead, Alan, discussion.
Okay. On the very first page, April 2015, that's already passed. Should it be 16? For Ellis Island and Statue of Liberty, grade 7, to be determined the number of students?
Yes,
It should be 16.
16.
The next one should be 16, May 8th, to Six Flags.
No, that is not, that is issued.
Well, it already happened.
It already
I'm
happened?
looking at June, no.
Right.
May 8th's
But
gone.
then,
Today's May
Is this
20th.
for 16? You know what?
It says revised agenda, but it's actually the field trips.
There
It
were,
was the
there were,
first revised agenda, the second one was the revised agenda, was the actual revised agenda. The first one was the field trips.
I sent the
4:27 p.m.
first email and put the field trips in and neglected to put the agenda in because I had put the field trips in. I sent a follow-up just
This
after.
was
Right.
Tuesday, the 19th.
Yeah.
at
Oh, there it is,
4:27.
okay.
I just want a clarification on the year.
Are those supposed to be 16?
There's 6 of them.
Right,
They're supposed to be 15, then they should have come last year.
they did come last year, they did go last year.
I think this one, I think chorus is going to New York on June 4th.
No, we're going on the 4th. No, we are going on the 4th, but
Yeah.
it is going on the 4th.
Yeah, this is the Broadway, yes. The Six Flags and Ellis Island, they came last year.
Do
I
we
mean, they
have,
wait.
do we have the
approved those
backup
last
on
year.
these with us?
No.
The forms that they submit to the,
I do, and this is an inherited grid. I don't, we didn't create this, so I'm not sure why those are there. But what we have here, none of these are the April, none of those are in this packet of the actual request forms.
well, have these 15 field trips for the spring come before the board yet?
No.
Then how did they go, or how did they go, if the field trips weren't brought before the board like they're supposed to be? I mean, the question is, this has happened every single year for years. What's
They
it
didn't-
been, 5 years now? Or however long it's been here. We always end up getting
No, I think something's wrong though.
requests at the last minute.
September 10th, 2015, Macy's Day Parade, 4 flyers. I think some of these have already been approved. No, isn't another one now?
That one just
Yeah,
came
those
last
are-
year.
those are- yeah.
Those just came in. Those aren't-
Went into the other room.
Flyer ones just came in. I have no paperwork for those.
Hasn't happened yet.
Those
May
those
11th
previous
has.
ones, I don't know why they're on the list, this could be
April.
from last year, I have no idea.
Well, who printed the list?
Well, I printed it, but I got it sent from someone else, and,
Who sent it?
Lisa.
Okay.
We can't approve this.
No,
No.
But what,
All right, I will, yeah.
but if that June 4th trip is the middle school chorus, and they're supposed to be going to a musical on the 4th,
June 4th, yeah, that's
They are.
for real.
That one is going on the 4th.
they're not if we don't approve it.
And shouldn't we have approved it last year? It's an out-of-state trip.
Right, it should have been last, they're
Okay.
supposed to come a year in advance,
haven't
but
we
I'm
made a
saying,
point about
whether they
that?
collected
Years.
money or not. Can I see that for a
They
second?
collected money, they bought the tickets, everything's paid for.
And I'm
Without
not-
permission.
But I'm not in support of punishing kids because we can't get our act together.
Right.
This is just a repeat.
It's a date change approval.
I think some of the old ones may be old.
Yeah, from last year, they were
Right,
approved
that
last
was
year.
approved June 3rd, but they changed the date to June 4th.
Right, so this is just a date change for that trip.
Right.
It was supposed to be the 3rd.
We approved it.
We approved the 3rd, but the tickets are for the 4th.
And you know what, I know what it is, because Washington DC already came forward, so that is for next year. The other ones she included because these were still pending for this year.
Well, the
Now, they were
Washington
already-
DC says 16,
Right,
but Ellis Island Statue of Liberty says April 2015.
yeah, no.
Six Flags was May 8th of 2015, which they went.
Actually,
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
Ellis Island is not going April, they're
Going
going
in June.
June 6th, 2nd,
Second, third, and fourth, there's three different
Right.
seventh grade groups go.
right.
But when was that brought, do we have the paperwork for that one?
I don't know, I just know when it is.
Do you have Ellis Island?
I think those-
I don't think so.
I think we have
That Ellis
June
Island was
2nd, 3rd,
approved
and
last
4th.
year. I think she should just tallied on last year's.
Well, I understand that the June 4th is a date change. Fine. But
If they had already been approved, they shouldn't be on here. Okay.
No Ellis Island in the packet, in the form.
Was there a policy discussion of taking this out of the board's hands at one point?
If you go out of state.
there was.
And being that, as you say, as long as we can remember every year, we have these same types of discussions, maybe we should.
Well, part of the
Re-
issue was the cost, we wanted to see what the trips were gonna
And
cost
they weren't,
us
and one of the
subs.
reasons were they weren't costing the district any money.
But they are, because we have to get subs in a lot of cases.
Yeah, we know that.
And
but-
nurses.
Nurses.
Yeah, non-used.
Okay.
With the laws that change, we have to have nurses.
What did you say?
With the laws that have changed, we have to have nurses on trips.
No, we didn't.
Now, we didn't before.
And that's not reflected on this. Right.
That's right, it's not.
You wanna take it
reflected
up?
on here.
Yep, please.
Okay.
Well, can we at least move to approve the one who just had a big change that did go
Yes.
through the proper procedure initially?
Yeah, but then you have the Ellis Islands ones that we don't have paperwork for, that on here says April of 2015, but you're telling me they're going in June. We
June
don't-
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
But I
is
think
already-
we already approved that one, I think that they're requesting maybe to go April of 2016, but I think we've already approved the June trips for this year.
Because it's 44
So-
this year, not 40.
Right.
So then just approve the one date change and then have the rest of this list come back in June?
Well, I guess let's make sure there's not any other ones that.
There's May
could be.
11.
Yep, that's
Junior.
gone. It's the
There's
20th.
There's June 2nd, American Museum of Personal Finance in Times Square.
Okay, and the Perkins grant.
The
June
high school.
2nd.
Do you have that one, Mike?
I'm
FBI.
checking. Yes.
Well, if they don't have a child on the 504, they don't have to have
It
one.
depends.
Right. 50 kids.
This was submitted to the administration on April 21st
Of this year.
15.
of this year to go to the American Museum of Personal Finance in Times Square.
Out of state.
Future Business Leaders of America, Perkins Grant.
Or I'm wondering if it's something to do with that little Perkins audit we had, maybe?
This is submitted by a teacher that's been in this district for 30 years.
No, I'm
That should
saying,
know.
we just had the Perkins grant audit that we got the presentation on before.
Right.
Is it possible that this is part of something they have to do based on the steps that were outlined in that, our
Right.
response?
For that one part we were omitting,
Oh, right,
because we do the.
All right, we're down to 3 minutes. We need to get this
So-
meeting wrapped up, so
I would
what do
like
we
to
want to do?
I make a motion to approve those trips going forward for the rest of the year, and then revisit how we do this.
For all next year.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Let's
good.
just,
That's a
I
good
mean, but
idea.
we have this discussion every year, and we do exactly the same thing.
We end up in the same spot.
Right, but let's do it in.
That would require Dan to amend his motion to include.
Actually, I'm the second, Bill's the motion, I think.
No,
No.
you, Bill was the second.
And regarding the ROTC, that was changed date, we had
Do you-
approved.
Are you okay with amending your motion to approve trips that would be affected through our next board meeting?
Yes, that's fine.
So we're just going to vote on, oh, Bill, would you amend your second?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So we're only voting on the June 2nd American Museum of Personal Finance, what's the other one? I lost it now.
The date
The
change
Ellis Island.
for
No.
JROTC.
Date change for TMS chorus
Six Flags,
and what's Six Flags?
May 8th.
You can't approve something that already
Oh,
happened.
already.
There's nothing we can do about
But
that.
is it for next year?
No.
Well,
No?
we're gonna deal with next year.
So what's the other one you're looking for?
Spring 2015.
Spring, we don't have a date.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, there's 5.
Name them, please.
April 2015, Ellis Island.
Yes.
May 8th, Six Flags.
No.
and
You can't approve
okay.
that, it already happened.
Broadway musical, June 4th.
Right.
So 1, 2. And then the date change, May 11th. For the Peace
Dave,
Aim
Roxy.
Day. Oh, no, that already went.
No, they changed, Roxy didn't go yet.
Right, no.
Roxy's
that's
changing the date to something else.
Well, whoever's in charge.
And then American Museum of Personal Finance.
And you might want to look at Metropolitan Museum, New York City, the art department, because it just has spring of 2015.
Ken, is there any meeting, is there any trips after our next board meeting? Okay, so that
Yes.
completes the school, what?
There is the Forbes Flyers. They are going June 30th. Oh, that's 2016, I'm sorry. I thought that was this year.
So we complete the school
That would
year.
complete
Complete the
this
school year, right.
Okay, that's just,
All right.
So I'm
Any other
sorry,
discussion?
could you just list those, June 2nd, American Museum Personal Finance, June 4th, Broadway show, date change?
Can I get a motion to get another 15 minutes?
sure.
Andrew? Thank you. I'm shocked.
We will get it
Second?
done.
Fiona? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have 4 opposed. All right. List them. We're talking about Ellis Island and Statue of Liberty trip. It's the second one on the list.
Yep.
We are talking about the 4th one on the list, Broadway musical, New York City, which is a date change.
Yep.
We are talking about the Metropolitan Museum for the THS Art Department, which is spring 2015. We're talking about number 1 on page 2, the Pease Air National Guard Base for the ROTC. And we are talking about the American Museum, which is the 4th one on page 2, Museum of Personal Finance for June 2nd.
Okay. All right, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? John is opposed. Okay. That was easy. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
You on a second? Jim? Discussion? All those in favor?
I have a question. On the one that lists the appointments and resigns and layoffs, there's 2 layoffs of teachers. Well, there's 1 resignation and 2 layoffs. We voted on 4 teachers, right?
For
The last time in our meeting.
What
budget.
happened Monday isn't actually.
Not Monday, I mean our last full board meeting. We vote on, there were 4 contracts.
For, oh. For non-renewals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just from my memory.
I believe you had already voted on the two layoffs.
We voted those as a line item, so they wouldn't be on the consent agenda?
No, they were, yes, they were not, right, they were non-renewals due to budgetary constraints.
Okay, so that's why they're not.
Right, they were already an action item of their own.
Correct.
All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Get a blank sheet of paper. Comments for the good of the order. John?
None, thank you.
Dan?
Nothing.
Jeremy?
Two quick things. One is, in future meetings, subcommittee-wise anyways, probably, we need to evaluate how and why we're going above budget items. In particular, just the thing that sparked this in my head was the IT thing. I don't recall approving any of these overages, so we need to figure out why. Maybe a policy needs to be looked at. I don't know where it needs to be, but we need to look at it. The other thing I have real quick is when information is brought to us, whether it be at a budget meeting, full board meeting, that information should be vetted to be correct prior to it being brought to us. We are here, especially this time of the year, for an obscene amount of time, and we continue to argue the accuracy of the information before we can even debate the information itself. I find it highly disrespectful that we have to continue to add time to meetings because the information just flat out is not correct. It's unprofessional and it makes us look silly. That's all I got.
Thank you. Fiona?
I'd like the board to strongly review our minute policy as far as what's ending up in our board minutes. I think they're too abbreviated. It doesn't actually clarify what happened at a meeting. And I think in grievances, we've used our minutes in the past to look up things, and we're not going to have that ability now. So I'd like to see that on a future agenda.
Ellen?
I'll have more information next meeting, but East School is doing their gardening and it's just phenomenal. You really should take a ride by and see what they're doing. They've raised platforms, the kids make little things like handprints and such. And I'll have a collage next time, but it's phenomenal what's going on, and we need to really bring more positive from the school to you, and I urge you please to just reach out to your schools that you're liaisons for and get positive information to bring. That's it.
Thank you. Jim? Jessica?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to spend some time with the administration and some of the teachers from Bogle Wetmore for the last couple of weeks and sit in a kindergarten class. And I was very impressed by what I saw with the kindergarten there. It was an enjoyable experience, and just to talk about positive information. I mean, that's our school that has the most tangible needs, and we all know that. And it was a good class, full of good kids, you know, and it was a good experience. And just that, from what I've heard from people at Bogle, they feel as if the board is recognizing the severity of their need, and some of the discussions that we've had have made them feel supported, and they appreciate that. So just to continue to encourage the board to, you know, continue to look at shifting resources and pay attention to the amount of need that's there, because that is a real need, and the people there do appreciate that support.
Thank you. Bill?
Next Wednesday night, May 27th at 7 o'clock, the first year band at Torrenford Elementary School is having their spring concert in the cafetorium. The kids have worked really hard. The practices, from what I hear, the practices have been going well. And you know, in terms of positive information, the concerts that have been up there so far this year have been well attended, and I expect the same will happen next week.
Thank you. Andrew?
Yes, city charter talks about allocations of money in excess of $100,000, which are not budgeted for, and there's a whole process that takes place. I'm not positive how that may or may not affect what boards of education may or may not do. I would request that we get a written opinion from the board's counsel pertaining to the post-retirement benefit package that was given to the administrative assistant and the 100,000 plus pertaining to excess amount that was paid to our IT contract. I don't know if there's violations there. Just on the face of the city charter, it appears that it's something that should be looked at by board's attorney. If for no other reason going forward, clarification whether or not, what the proper procedure for huge unbudgeted allocations that may take place in the course of the year.
Okay. All right. Need these to be brief. Committee reports. Budget.
Budget's gonna be focusing on trying to get a handle on the student activity accounts next month, and we are also going to start to track how we're gonna move forward for our next budget season.
Okay, grievance?
We closed the grievance with the paras, and we also closed 3 grievances with the custodial union as well.
Personnel.
We're on track for our next meeting. We will have at least 2 special meetings before that. 1 to review a document management and payroll system, and 1 to do the board's annual review.
Allison.
We're revisiting bylaws, technology in the classrooms, graduation policy, and anything else that's thrown at us.
School improvement.
School improvement is looking forward to the end of the city's budget season so we can get back to the whole incorporation of the Board of Education with the rest of the city's plans for marketing and branding and things like that. And I expect when the mayor has more free time, we'll be able to get in touch with those people to do the things that we planned on doing 3 months ago. Torrington High School Oversight Panel, if I can drop into that. I know that the question's been brought up by other people around this table, and on Monday night, we voted to pull $50,000 to be determined from the high school, and I will be calling a meeting of this committee sometime in June, once there's a stake through the heart of the budget.
Okay. Keep going.
Ed Connection, for the 2nd year in a row, Ed Connection gives 2 essay prizes for $1,000 each every year. 1 for the northern towns in the rest, and 1 for the southern towns. And for the 2nd year in a row, a Torrington High School student has won the contest. And as somebody over there remarked, must be some good things going on in that school. So, which we know, but not necessarily everybody around does. So that will be presented tomorrow at a special ceremony, 12:30 in the media classroom for anyone who feels like showing up, just before the high school's mock fatal crash, pre-prom. That's it.
Turf Committee. Okay. Items for upcoming agenda. We'll have financial statements, committee reports. We'll get the board's feeling on whether we're going to get the legal opinions. Future meetings, policy, it's...
Field trips.
Oh, and field trips, you're right, field trips. What's that?
The grounds, we just go to outsource the grounds, don't roll on a contractor.
Yep. All right, policy, 6 o'clock on the 3rd, budget, 7 o'clock on the 3rd, personnel, 6 o'clock on the 10th, school improvement, 7 o'clock on the 10th, regular board meeting is Wednesday the 17th. Motion to adjourn? All right, all those in favor?
I'm sorry, who moved that? Who seconded that?
Dan?
Dan moved it?
No, Ellen moved it, Dan seconded it.
Thank you.
It was almost simultaneous.
It was 9-0.